Hello everybody. Nice to see you all. Just as soon as I'm able to check if everything is recording properly, I'll just start right away. We have a lot of things to do. Twitch. Okay. Okay, so we're jumping back to the script, to the game where we left off. And let's start with first making sure what we want to do this time. And first of all, let's finish up properly setting up all the scripts on the objects we have. So that is the enemy projectile to have an enemy bolt script over here instead of the enemy meteor. Here we can just continue, no problem. Just type 300 speed instead of this, right? And then apply. Good. So now we can actually so this is not on meteor, and we can actually change some stuff on the meteor because we would like to make the meteor to have a random size every time it spawns. So let's create a float, a private float. So float size. We can also add. Yeah, that's basically it. That's what we need. Okay, so now we need to random the size. Let's say it has to random between 0.2 and 1. So let's create size equals random.range between 0.2, 0.2f and 1f. Alright, and now on the start, just underneath it, we need to change the current transform dot scale, local scale, sorry, to be equal to new vector 3 of scale, size, and size. So now every time a meteor spawns, it's going to randomize between 0.2 and 1f, and it's going to change to this size accordingly. So if you jump back into the game, you can actually see these meteors to be changing the size. Okay, good. So that's one thing. Another thing we would like to do is actually clean up this this game, so we can actually just delete these just for now, so we don't have to every time start with stuff on the screen already. Also, why is this not? Okay, it's fine. Right, this quad is the background. Yeah, okay. Okay, so let's make so right now we don't really we can't really destroy things, and things can destroy us, and it would be good to have the enemies have proper tags. Oh, they have tags already, good. But then we would like to have a friendly projectile tag, so it's like a bolt, let's say. Or actually we don't really need to, because we can just check on the bolt if we did hit an enemy, so it's okay. Okay, so let's just go to the scripts and open up the player bolt, and let's create a void on trigger enter. Collision 2D, sorry, not 2D, but collision call, I believe. Collider. Okay, it changed automatically, so I believe it is a collider. Let's just see if it actually is Alright, it's a collider. Okay, good. So if we hit an enemy, so if call.tag equals enemy, we would like to then destroy the call.gameObject. Oh, yeah, but destroy it. So gameObject dot destroy call.gameObject. Right? Let's see. So this is on the bolt, and if this bolt, which is in the prefabs folder, so friendly projectile, it has to have a rigid body and a capsule collider without the trigger button, because there has to be a collider which is not a trigger to enter a trigger in order to call this trigger enter, to make a collision basically. Otherwise there is no collision detected. Okay, so right now we are going to be able to hit every single enemy and actually destroy it. But then there is also another thing that we need to fix, is the fact that the bolt does not really destroy itself, so it just pierces through all enemies. That's one. And two, we are also able to destroy the enemy bullets, and probably it would be best, at least it's what I'm thinking, that this should not be in the game. So like one shot can pierce and destroy both bullets and the enemies. That's not what I like. Okay, so let's quickly change to let's go to the bolt, so the enemy projectile over here, and make a new tag for it. So add tag and check if it's an enemy bolt, and apply to the projectile over here. So let's say if we hit a bolt, there is actually nothing going to happen, right? So we don't really want this to be able to happen. So we don't really want to make another comparison if the collider is an enemy bolt, right? Instead we are just sticking to the enemy. Okay, and now we also would like to destroy the bolt itself, the player bolt itself. So destroy. So this is basically, as you can see, this is able to be simplified by removing this part. So we can destroy that, and in the brackets enter game object and a semicolon at the end. Okay, so if we hit an enemy, we are going to destroy the enemy and gain a and destroy the player bolt as well. And I've just mentioned a point. This will be later on. So add a point that just commented out, so we can remember to do that. Good. And now we also should probably detect if our player gets hit by an enemy. So let's go to player, and again void on trigger enter. Collider call, and if call.tag is enemy, or this is a logic value, logic gate, or call.tag is an enemy bolt, then we want to probably respawn. So let's just comment it out, respawn. Okay, so let's just create a script right now, which will be for counting how much score we have right now. So we can just say points. It's basically the same thing we did in the last game. So we want a static value, so a public integer, sorry, static public static integer points. Yeah, okay. And we could also add over here in the update function to have some UI show how much points we have currently. So we need to add some UI into the game. So let's just do that right now. head over here, hit UI, text. It's going to create a canvas and an event system for us. We don't really have to do that by ourselves. Okay, just move the text wherever you want the points to be at. I want it in the top part of the screen over here. I want to center it out on the x-axis and just move it down a bit, like -50 perhaps. Then also make it aligned to the middle, both horizontally and vertically. And I want it to be bold, and let's say the font size to be like 24. Also change the color of it to like, let's say this light blue. And let's say points .0. So this is our text. Let's now head to the points and add a library. So using Unity engine.ui. And in the update function, we would like to have a text. Sorry, so first public text text. That's basically what we have to take. And in the update function, we need to type text.text. So we need to go into the text variable of the text object. Text.text equals, and now we can just say points plus not 0 but points over here. So these points are over here. This is just a string. Text is a game object, and this text is just a variable inside of it. Okay. Alright, so now we need to actually apply these points. So we can go over here into the player bolt, add a point. Basically, we need to just add a point. So points dot points plus plus, and that's all. Good. Okay, and now we can actually go and create we can actually create the first scene, which will be like our menu and the ending screen. It will just hold both the last playthrough, how many points we got from the last playthrough, and the starting buttons, and a quit button if our player wants to. Okay, so let's go to let's create not over here but in scenes. Create a scene menu. We can also rename this sample scene into just 01, why not? Okay, open it up. Then we can just unload this one, save it up. Okay, so in the main menu, we want to have some UI, canvas, and a panel. So it covers up the entire screen. Just change the source image to none. So it covers up the entire screen. Okay, good. So I can actually just go and create like a darker version of it and add some text on top of it. So like an arcade shooter. Right. Let's just pull it up a bit. Just you can align and anchor the text and the UI objects on the parented game object. So we can just drag it up a bit now, align it as well, change the color of it, change the font size, or just click best fit if you want to. I'll just go like 56 perhaps. Yeah, let's just do that. Hit hold. Okay, and then have a couple buttons over here. I can also show you one thing. You can also have any of these as your button instead of having this preset. So we can just add a text over here, or like let's say a panel. So let's create a small panel over here. So over here. Yeah, and then just drag it down, change the size of it, like just center it out. You can add some color like that, then add some text on top of this panel. Again, align it and just say play. And just hit play, bold, change the color of it as well. Maybe I'll go for like this very strong color. Okay, this would be better. Yeah, like that. Okay, just change the size of it. Just hit best fit in my case. And then you can add a component over here, which will be a button. And as you can see, you can also have a button right now. But sorry, not on the text. I mean, you could, but I want it on the panel, not just on the text. So a button over here, and good. So we can now add whatever you want to add. Okay. Right. So let's see. Alright, so if we have this script, we would like to be able to destroy it whenever we start the game, as in loading the first game scene over here. Okay, so first up, let's actually just start from making the other button for the quit button. So we can just drag it down, say quit, change the color of it. Quit. And then we would like to have also a panel in the middle, which won't be a button, but it's just going to be here. A bit maybe bigger in my case. And the thing is, I want to have like a panel which will say how many points you've gathered in the last playthrough over here. So instead of having a button over here, just remove it. And this text to be blank. So just leave it blank. So let's see, if we have a static value, will it actually go? Let's just check quickly if this is going to be over here. So let's add the respawn function over here. So again, we can just be using Unity engine.scene management, and over here scene manager.load scene, and then just index 0, because if you lose, you're going to back to the 0 index, scene index. Okay. And let's see if this is going to somehow survive. Or we can actually just have, yeah, okay, so let's create a small game object over here. Yeah, just create an empty game object. Just name it save, just like that, and have a tag for it, save, as well. Okay, and create a script for it. Just call it saver, and attach it over here. Open it up. Reload it if you need to. Okay, so this should be so first of all, let's go to void start and enter the function don't destroy unload, which was in game object, I believe. Don't destroy, unload, yes. Game object. Okay, so we want this, and we also want a public integer points, or actually just say saved points. And we can also make it static, doesn't hurt. And in a case of player losing, we want this to have the saver, so saver dot saved points to be equal to points dot points. Okay. But then we would like to actually be able to I have to think this through. Wait, am I actually... Sorry, I've just realized I didn't really... Okay, I'll just quickly check something because I just want to make sure this is right. So I want to debug.log points.points. Okay, yeah, and then in the saver, so it is over here, let's just say it in the saver, it's fine. I want to say points.points as in debug.log. So at first we should get an error. Or 0, it's fine. So we have the save over here. Okay, so let's create this. Okay, so let's just do it in the proper order. So first of all, let's create functions for these buttons over here. So we need a script for it. Let's just say GUI. Just apply it to the panel or to the canvas, whatever you prefer. I just apply it to the canvas. And in these panels, go to onClick. So this is my panel, which is the play button. So I can apply the canvas right now. And in the quit button over here, add a new object to the list and hit canvas over here. Open up the GUI and create these functions for starting the game and for closing the game. So a public void, the public is important, play, and a public void quit. Again, using Unity Engine scene management. Yep, and in here in the play function, scene manager dot load scene 1, which is the first index. Sorry, the second one, basically. And in the quit button, we just say application dot close dot quit, close, whatever. Yeah, quit. Okay, so let's just apply it quickly to the proper panels over here. GUI play, and over here GUI quit. Okay, so for some reason I'm actually Alright, my bad. I haven't added the scene over here. So we need to add and change these this order here. Let's see again. Okay, so I'm actually moved into the game, but we don't get points for it. But we can lose. Actually, we do gain points, but we aren't really able to see them right now. Okay, so this is actually saving, and that's good. Okay, so the saver will be for the GUI in game. Okay, so let's load up the first scene over here. Unload the menu just for a second. Go to canvas, to this text over here, and let's add this saver over here. Open it up. We can we can actually destroy this, if I'm right. Yeah, let's just destroy that quickly. And in this void update, we would like to have, first we need to add the library for the UI. So we need to engine.ui, and over here have the text. So public text, and again text.text equals points plus points. Wait, haven't I done that on the points? Yeah, I have. Okay, so we don't really need the saver. We can actually just close it down and delete it. Sorry for that. Saver, right. Okay, so in this text over here, we can just destroy that and have points over here. Wait, points are on this game object, game manager, right? No. Okay, so they should be on the game manager. Okay, let's just drag them here. Have this text over here. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we have to. Right, yeah. Saver has to be deleted over here. Okay, load the menu scene so it loads up properly. Play. We can move around, we can destroy, and we gain points for it. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's one part done. Okay, so we lost right now, and we still have this thing here. Okay, good. So reference game object save is missing. It's fine. Yeah, we can destroy that. Destroy this. Okay. So in this canvas, it would be nice to have a function in the GUI script over here to have also using Unity engine.ui and have this text applied to, you'll just see, so a void start. So every time we load up this scene, we want to have this text over here in the middle updated to points gained in the last game, double dot, and the proper amount. So we need a text over here, so public text text.text equals points gained last game plus points. Okay, and whenever we hit play, we want to reset the points. Pointers to be 0. So points equals 0. Let's see if that's going to work properly. We can just copy it down over here and say 0. We need to apply the text over here. This text panel. Is it that one? Yes, it is that one. Okay, so just drag it over here. And it's good. Okay, so let's go to play. Let's gain some points and lose the game. Okay, so we got like 3 points and just we lost. Okay, so we got 3 points right now. We can open the game again. We have 0 points over here. Let's see if I gain like 1 point and then lose. We gained 1 point. Good. Good. Okay, that's perfect. That's what we wanted. And now we can actually well, let's see where we finished up over here. Alright, so let's first up unload the menu scene because it's basically finished already. To have different colors for our objects because they are 3D objects. Let's just show it up close to the player. Just hit F to focus on it. As you can see, it's just a cube, and we can actually just change the color of it in the material. So we need to create a material which will have so let's just create a folder, have materials, and then we can create a material over here. Let's say player mat, and then we have the maps over here. We can just go to albedo and change the color of it over here to, let's say, green, and then we can just drag and drop on the cube, and it's just going to have effect right away. Okay, and we can just do the same thing for each prefab. So have an enemy, like a meteor material. So meteor mat. We can just duplicate it and say shooter mat, and a bolt mat, enemy bolt mat, and a player bolt mat. Okay, open the prefabs here. Lock them up over here. This lock over here will make sure that whatever we click anywhere, this won't change this particular tab. So we need to have applied it. So like enemy bolt mat, it's going to go into the enemy projectile. Shooter mat is going to go to the enemy shooter. Player bolt goes to friendly projectile, and the meteor mat is going to the enemy meteor. Okay, good. And now if we change the albedo colors, we're just going to see the effect. So a player bolt, this should be like, let's say this light blue. Light blue is fine for me. So a meteor can be like more darker, like brown maybe. A shooter, I want it to be like red, like purple-ish to red, basically. And the enemy bolt to be, let's say, yellow. Okay, so this, it did. So this should have effect right away. Let's see in the game if it's going to change the colors right away, or it didn't. Okay, it did. So you can see different colors right now. Okay, so another thing we would like to do, because right now these objects are, as you can see in the hierarchy to the left, they are just stockpiling a lot, and we should get rid of them. So let's create a collider, or actually let's just make sure that every single unit has boundaries, as in the enemy and player projectiles and the enemies themselves. Because we have many scripts, we can just create one script which will have which will just bound them to a particular region, as in the max and the minimum y axes. So we go to the C# script, create a new one. Let's say boundaries, reload solution, and let's say so public float y min, y max. So we can just set them both up at the same time. And then in the update function, we just check if transform.position.y is if it's bigger than the max, the y max, then it's going to destroy. But we also want to check if it's not also less than the minimum. So transform dot position dot y to be less than y minimum. Because in this case we want to destroy this dot, well, game object basically. We don't need this dot. Okay, so these boundaries are working. So let's add them to our prefabs. So these just got updated and they changed colors as well. So we have the y min and the y max. We need to make sure they are properly set up. So let's see. We spawned them at what height? Let's see quickly. At the height of 7. So we need to have a maximum 7.5, let's say. The maximum y here. So y max should be like 7.5. And the y minimum, well, it's basically underneath the player, which is -3, -4, let's just say. Or let's just actually just stick to -7.5, just for every single every single object in the game. So y min, y max is 7.5, and y min is -7.5. The same thing here, -7.5. Right, over here as well, 7 -7.5 and 7.5. Okay, so if this is going to exceed, then it's going to get destroyed. Let's see if it works. So as you can see, the hierarchy is actually not being overwhelmed by the amount of objects, because they get destroyed if they get out of the boundaries. Okay, so another thing we want to get rid of is this spammable shooting. So we need to head to the player and just basically do the same thing with a delay that we did on the game manager. So a public float shot delay, shoot delay, and float time passed. So we need to set up the time passed to be 0 equals 0. And now in the update function, and also a boolean, which will be if can shoot. So a bool can shoot, which is false at the start of the game. So can shoot is false. Good. Okay, so right now, if the player is able to shoot, so if the time passed is greater or equal to the shoot delay, then we want to, well, allow him to shoot. So basically can shoot is true, right? But also we need to reset the time passed to be 0, and yeah, that's it. Now else, but not only else, but also else if, because we want to see if he has shot already to reduce the delay. Otherwise he will be able to he'll be able to shoot twice at once sometimes. So and also if can shoot is false, so just negate it. Right, then we want to add time passed plus equals times delta time. Right, so right now, and also one thing, we need to go to the spacebar over here, right here, and check if he can shoot, and can shoot. Another thing which is nice to have is, instead of the get key down, which is basically just when the key gets down, we can just say get key, and we can allow him to have continuous shooting. So he'll just shoot whenever he is able to. Okay, that's some major bugs. Let's see. All right. So can shoot, right? Because because we never say that he cannot shoot over here. So we can just go over here, say can shoot is false. That's good to play tests every time because you can just forget a single thing and the whole game will basically get destroyed. Okay, something is still not right. So if we get the key down and can shoot. Oh right, my bad, because we need to also set up this delay over here. So let's say 0.5. And we'll see if this is making. Yep, that's basically it. That's what we really needed. Because we can just hold down this, we can just hold the spacebar down and it's going to shoot always at the same rhythm. I'm not shooting, now I'm shooting again, and there is no like double shots or anything like that. Okay, good. Is it going to reset? Yeah, okay, perfect, good. Now let's just set quickly boundaries for the player, because right now he can just float off the screen to the right, to the left. So let's say float x boundaries public. Or actually we don't really need it. Let's just say it's public boundaries, right? And then we need to check if the player has exceeded the limit. Okay, so let's just first don't allow him to go left if he is already at the limit of the boundaries, like at the negative limit of it. So if it's smaller or equal to minus boundaries, x boundaries. Yeah, but what is smaller than? So and transform top position to x is smaller or equal to minus boundaries. And we also can just copy it down over here. Is greater, if it's greater, sorry, my bad. Okay, so if it's not smaller, but if it's greater than, yeah, okay, so it's greater than minus boundaries, and if it's smaller than x boundaries. Right, this makes sense. Okay, good. Now inside of these ifs, well, basically, yeah, okay, over here, we can also check if the player has exceeded this limit by a tiny bit. So if not input, but if the transform dot position dot x is actually smaller than minus x boundaries, then we want to set the x position of the player to be at the boundaries limit. So we need to apply the whole the whole transform vector. So transform dot position equals new vector 3, and let's just set the x to be minus x boundaries, and here to have just basic transform the position dot y and transform the position dot z. Okay, and the same thing over here in the else if. So if it's going to be greater than boundaries, then we want to set it to the boundaries and at the same place in y and z axis. Okay, let's quickly see. Yeah, but what is the boundaries? We haven't set them up, so we need to go over here into the player and set the boundaries to be, well, let's see. What's the good limit of it? To be like 3 perhaps? Yeah, 3 is good. So if let's just say 3. So x boundaries 3. So can the player exceed this limit? He just cannot. So he can just move up to 3 and that's all. Good. Okay, that's working. Perfect. Alright, I was thinking of covering the sound effects, but basically we did this in the last game. So if you have followed the last episode, sorry, not the last episode, but the last game, and basically it was the second or the third one. Sorry, it was like the let me think. I think it was the 6th episode to have the sound effects covered. So you can basically just add them into this game in the same way we did the last time. It would just be repeating the same process. Okay, so we've got some points. We've got the whole game mechanism. We have the enemies, we have the player. He can move up, we can adjust the speed, we can adjust a lot of things. So we can always add basically anything you would like to have added. You can also play with the lighting over here. So like we can just remove this directional light and instead add some other lights. Like we have point lights, we have spotlights, area lights. So let's say a point light. Let's move to the scene and actually see how it works. It's like this big globe. And if we move it over here, we can actually just light up this game object. As you can see, this lighting is moving. Right. So we can just play around and you can basically add a light to be at the player area here on the X and the Y axis. So just like add it on top of the player. Okay, let's just do this. And instead of having it like on top of the player here, we can just drag it over here to light up this wall behind it and have this glowing effect. We can also add some more range, the intensity, stuff like the color of the lighting itself to be like, you can have green here, and this will create this nice effect. Let's just see. Okay, yeah, see. But then the lighting right now is just kind of broken if we don't have this directional light. So I'll just quickly add it back. And actually have it rotated the right way around, which I believe was, yeah, that way. But this is like very strong light for some reason. Let's just decrease the intensity of it as well, because it's too bright for me. Okay, maybe something like that. Okay, so you can just play around with the lighting. It will create some nice effect for the game, and you can also add your own 3D objects or download some from the game. You can just basically switch up the whole game object with a particular 3D object and then apply the collider, the scripts, the rigid body, and it's going to work just the same way that this cube does, allowing you to have some original things in the game. So just quickly build this game and run it as well. Just have a build folder, build, and inside create this build. Okay, strangely we don't have the version that we wanted to have, so let's just go with this. And as you can see, this is working just alright. Yeah, and if I go back over here, points gained last game 4. We can hit play, go back to the game, and yeah. Okay, so that's going to be it for today. This was a lot of coding in a very quick succession, so I hope this particular more focused on basically programming tutorial was good for you and you've learned something. Yeah, see you next time, which will be in let me just quickly check. This will be 25th, so I hope to see you at that time. We'll probably, yep, we'll create a new game. I won't spoil yet what it will be, but it's going to be pretty nice. So see you then. Until then, I hope you will have a great time. Goodbye.